certain players are already in that space. They've gone from being in what Pine and Gilbert used to call the experience economy to now being in the transformation economy. Nike, for example, that used to just sell us products, right, hardware. But by having an app like Nike Plus, for example, by having Nike Running Club, and allowing you to co-produce or co-innovate which kind of shoes perfectly fit you, all of a sudden they're finding that the digital software is selling more of the hardware, and they're fundamentally invested in your own self-actualization or climbing of Maslow's needs hierarchy to make sure that you're wealthier, healthier, and better off. And that sort of transformation economy, I think, is the next level to this idea of co-creation. A generation like the millennials who grew up and had their first jobs just at the time of the global financial crisis, there's this fundamental lack of trust with banks, financial services players, insurance providers, and they're starting to trust neobanks, they're starting to trust insurtechs, fintechs, more than they would established brands. In some ways, that goes to ensuring that they are trusting artificial intelligence more than they would their financial advisor. The physical world and the digital world or the virtual world are increasingly now blending. And I think we've seen this via very popular apps recently, be they Snapchat, for example, or recent innovations when we go off hunting for Pokemon, for example, in parks around the world. And while they might just be the kind of first instances of augmented reality or virtual reality creating new perspectives around ourselves, they are this blending of the physical and the digital, which is fascinating and certainly creates a lot of opportunities. Income protection might in the future be something like, hey, you did your university degree, you studied to become a lawyer, but hey, now all digital due diligence is happening in the virtual world and there's less of a need for lawyers. Could we insure against that type of robotic or technological unemployment in the future? I think a lot of the innovations that we're seeing often emerge from just awareness of friction or what might frustrate us or even at times piss us off. Think about retail banking, for example. Yes, we might like to do all of our banking via a mobile app these days, but oftentimes we're still forced to go into a bank branch and then put wet ink on a piece of paper to verify our identities when we could do that biometrically via thumbprint on our digital device instead. There's just so much friction built into the system. Just ask yourself, how could we make this process a lot more human and empathetic? And that sort of empathy is really where we find a lot of innovation. And I think we need to become better at harnessing the imaginations of people to be willing to step out and go, here's where we're going 10, 15 years down the track, as opposed to just being so nostalgic that we also run the risk of being unstrategic.